Hey guys, so Star Wars toys are hitting the shelves as of this video. You might be finding new Black Series, the Vintage Collection making its return, and new Solo, a Star Wars story product. So we have got a couple figures from that line today. There are 3 2-packs that they are releasing for the Solo line. One of them is a repack from The Last Jedi, so we won't be looking at that, but we're going to take a look at the 2 new products. We have got the Lando Kessel Guard pack, which I am really interested in, and then we've got this Darth Maul Qui-Gon pack, which I'm actually still pretty interested in just because of the characters, even though we obviously know they aren't in this movie. Packaging wise, this is the same kind of thing we saw with The Last Jedi, except we're going with a yellow and white color scheme instead of red and white. We've got character artwork on the front, we've got it on the sides, and then on the back we've got that Force Link 2.0 gimmick. I don't have the Force Link thing, so we're not going to be able to do voices. I'm not too beat up about that. So let's pull these guys out and take a closer look. Alright guys, so here they are out of the packaging. We've got Maul, Qui-Gon, Lando, and the Kessel Guard. We're going to talk about the 2 packs together. So we'll talk about Maul and Qui-Gon, and then we'll talk about Lando and the Kessel Guard. So let's just move those out of the way and get started. Okay, so Darth Maul, Qui-Gon, they don't really have anything to do with Solo, a Star Wars story, but I'm not going to turn down a chance to get new figures. I am very much a sucker for both characters, so there's no way I wasn't going to buy this one. We're going to take a look at them individually, and then we'll bring them together and talk about what they do as a whole and how they look together. So we've got Qui-Gon first, just to knock him out. And I feel like this guy is very much a Black Series scaled down version. He looks very, very much like that Black Series figure that we've had for a little while now, which I think is a good thing because as far as that line goes for what it was doing at the time, it was a pretty solid Qui-Gon, I believe. This is, however, a standard 3 3/4 inch figure, but he does have more than 5 points of articulation, as does Darth Maul. We can swivel the head, we can rotate the arms, he has rotating wrists, and he has a kick on those legs. So you can move the legs forward and backward. They are going to be impeded by the Jedi robes just a little bit, but what are you going to do? You're not going to have him in much of a running position anyway. He is one of the kind of rare figures, well maybe not rare anymore, that are set up with a specific pose in mind. So he cannot stand flat-footed when his feet are kind of perpendicular with each other or parallel, and you have to have him in a bit of a pose. So you can see I've got his legs a little bit askew there so he can stand flat on the ground. It's just a little bit of a style pose that's sculpted into the figure, which ultimately I'm okay with. It doesn't hinder, but it doesn't really add anything for me either. He is sculpted with a Force kind of Jedi mind trick type of hand, or a Force push, which is similar to what he has with the Black Series figure as well. As far as the overall look, I think he looks fine. I think he looks very much as much Liam Neeson as we're going to get in this scale, unless they start doing the photo print in this line as well. The Jedi robes are, slightly off-white, so they look used and they look a little dirty. We've just got the normal look for a Jedi here, and I think overall he looks pretty solid. We do, of course, have him with his lightsaber, standard with the painted hilt, and then a translucent green blade. So I'm always happy to get another green lightsaber. And again, his wrist does swivel, so you can get him into a bit more dynamic pose, or as dynamic as he's going to get for having only one joint at the arm. But I do think this is a pretty solid looking Qui-Gon. I'm not a big stickler for 3 3/4 inch in terms of, really being hard pressed that they have to be absolutely perfect. But when they're good, they're good. And this is a pretty solid figure. I'm overall very happy with it. Again, I am a sucker for Qui-Gon, but I don't think that's really influencing my opinion here. I think that comes from the likeness and the overall look that we have in terms of how it compares to the Black Series, and I really feel like there is some sort of relationship between those 2 figures. Now for Darth Maul, we've got a little bit more going on than Qui-Gon. He's got extra robes. So we've got the outer robe that we see him wear in the Phantom Menace. We've also got 2 accessories for him, and then the pack-in bonus is a bit more skewed towards Darth Maul, although it's movie related to Phantom Menace in general, but it's definitely kind of quote-unquote his thing. So the robes that he has, I think, are pretty nicely done. They just fit over top of the figure, and we do have slots on the sides, so the arms can pop through if you wanted to leave them on, but it's actually really easy to take it off. It's a little easier to take it off than it is to put it back on, but I like them. I think they hang pretty nicely. They're sculpted in such a way that you can see all of the little wrinkles and the designs in them. I don't know that I'm going to use it, but I like that we have the included option with this particular figure. So you can see, got them right there, or we can just have the figure itself. And just like Qui-Gon, this guy stands with a stance, so his right leg is further back than his left, kind of the opposite to Qui-Gon. He's basically almost 100% cast in black plastic with no paint on him whatsoever except for that face, and I think it's got a little bit of a Ray Park look to it, which obviously works rather well. Paint on mine is pretty clean, especially for this scale. I'm pretty happy with those paint apps. I think they look pretty nice, and overall lend itself to the overall character of Darth Maul and his general look. We have his communicator wristband that we see him use on Tatooine. He is, it's just cast in silver plastic. It's removable. You can take it off if you want. As far as articulation goes, just like Qui-Gon, he has a little more than 5 POA. Head can swivel, arms can rotate, but the elbows have a swivel. Unfortunately, it's not the greatest. I think that just a normal hinge would have been nice. But I know what they're going for. They're going for the ability for you to swing his arms across his chest so he can hold his lightsaber in both hands, which I do appreciate. It's just kind of a wonky joint because the cut on the arms is angled. And then he does have a kick on the legs, but since his robes are obviously bigger and go on the front and the back a little bit more tightly than Qui-Gon's, it's a little more hindering, but not to the point where it's actually a problem or anything like that. He does, of course, include his telltale lightsaber. So we've got that silver piece of plastic in the middle with the blades on the outside, and it does split, so you can have 2 red lightsabers if you so choose. And then his other accessory is his binoculars that we see him use in The Phantom Menace. It's just a silver piece of plastic. Nothing that I'm personally going to use, but I do like the inclusions of anything extra just to give him a little extra oomph and fill those packages a little more. So that's our 2-pack, but we do have a bonus, like I mentioned. So we've got Darth Maul's DRK-1 probe droid that we see in The Phantom Menace on Tatooine. It's just cast in kind of a gunmetal-y black type plastic with the kind of lens, transparent lens on the front there. It does come on a stand, which is ball jointed, so it fits into this stand and you kind of move around a bit. 360-degree movement there. It just sort of pegs in on the bottom. So it's another little thing, something to fill out a shelf maybe, or just put next to Darth Maul. But I do like the fact that this isn't some goofy weapons pack that fits on their back like we saw in the Last Jedi 2-packs. This is something that is useful and makes sense for the characters, for the scene that they're trying to build. And overall, I'm happy with it. I think it's a really cool inclusion in an already solid 2-pack. All right, now maybe the meat of the video, the real reason we're here, the actual Solo, a Star Wars story 2-pack. We've got the young Lando Calrissian, and we've got our Kessel guard. And if I had to be honest, and I'm going to be anyway, I am far more interested in this guy than I am in Lando. I think that Lando looks pretty solid, and as far as a figure goes, I don't have any gripes with him, but this guy is just too cool. So we're going to talk about Lando first, and then we'll talk about this guy, because the pack-in bonus is actually for him as well. All right, so Lando Calrissian, this is basically a scaled-down version of the Black Series figure, as far as I can tell. Now, that's one that I have said previously, I'm not buying the Black Series, at least not at full price yet. I just don't need a young Lando in my Black Series display, but for the 5 POA line, I am happy to have him, and I think he looks pretty solid. So we've got a cloak on him that has the scarves attached. So we've kind of seen this. We've seen this in the trailer, I believe, and you know, the Black Series figure has it. I think it sits on him pretty well. It's got that nice high collar on it, and I like the design on the scarf. I don't know why, but I like it. It looks nice. It hangs well on him, and I like the overall way it just fits the look and feel of a Lando Calrissian. You can pop this guy off, and you've got Lando's bright yellow shirt underneath with you know, the kind of kerchief that's moving over on the side there. He's got a holster on his leg that you can put his silver pistol, and it's just kind of a standard pistol there. The likeness to Donald Glover, I think personally, is pretty solid for a 5 POA figure. It's not perfect. It's never going to be. I shouldn't have to say that, but I keep saying it. But in general, I think it looks pretty good. I can be convinced that this is a solid attempt to make Donald Glover in the 3 3/4 inch scale. And it looks convincingly enough to me like the Lando that I have seen so far in some trailers. In general, I do like the overall look of this figure. Paint apps are pretty solid on him, although there's not tons, at least not in comparison to his counterpart in this pack. But I do like him. I think the face is nicely painted, and what we do have on the pants, the belt buckle, and the shirt is nice as well. He is a standard 5 POA figure. We've got head rotation, we've got arm rotation, and legs can kick as well, but he doesn't have anything else. There's nothing at the wrist, nothing at the waist, nothing at the boots or anything like that. He stands rather flat-footed, despite the fact that he has a pretty small footprint, which I am thankful for. I was kind of worried he was going to fall over because he does have boots. So in general, he's a pretty solid figure. He's definitely not my focus, like I said, but I'm not going to fault him for that. I do think that this is a pretty good interpretation of a young Lando Calrissian, and I'm honestly looking forward to maybe some more costume changes we'll get in this line for him down the road. Now, the Kessel Guard. This guy is definitely what I was most interested about when it comes to the 5POA, at least in terms of the single carded figures and the 2-packs. This is where it's at for me. He is kind of a classic Star Wars look, but it's definitely got those new Star Wars movie feel to it. I definitely feel like this guy belongs somewhere dirty and dark within the Star Wars universe, and if he truly is the Kessel Guard, and that's not a goof up on Hasbro's part, I think that'll fit pretty well. And there is just a lot going on with this guy. For starters, and something that I was very, very happy to see when I got him out of the box, his huge staff here can be stored on his back. And I say it time and time again, I love when figures have storage options for their weapons that in other applications they may not be holding. And this guy is definitely going to not always be holding his weapon because of the pack-in that he comes with. He is, again, a standard figure, just like Lando. Head can swivel, the arms can swivel, there's nothing at the wrist, nothing at the waist, and he's got a leg kick. He does, as you can tell, have a skirt, so that's going to hinder his movement a little bit. But again, you're just going to have him standing up anyway, so it really doesn't matter at the end of the day. He does, however, have a ton of sculpted detail and a ton of paint apps on him, and to be honest, I need this guy in a 6-inch version ASAP, and if he's not a unique character, and I'm assuming he's not, you know, I need a couple of them, and honestly, I kind of want another one of these as well. There's a lot of dry brushing on that helmet. We've got emblems on him. We've got dry brushing on the skirt piece. We've just got various colors, various muted tones of kind of browns and greens and grays and all that kind of stuff. The back is a little less interesting than the front, but I can live with that in a 5POA world. He does have, you know, this cool mask and maybe like a breathing apparatus on his face, maybe a light up here on the top. We don't know yet. And then, of course, like I said, he does have this cool staff, which again pegs onto his back. And yeah, I'm very happy with that. I think he just looks like an interesting character, and compared to the other figures in the line, I think he stands out. This movie looks like it's one that's going to have a lot of possibilities for aliens and armored creatures, and I really, really hope that they go down this road, because the line sorely needs some new aliens and new armored creatures that we don't need to see their faces for, and I think this guy is a really good start. Now for the pack-in, this is the big mess of stuff that's in this package. It is a humongous tripod cannon, and it's definitely meant for this guy. You can see him on the back of the box holding onto it, and he does hold onto it just fine with both hands. And again, this is why I like the fact that he can store his weapon on his back. I don't have to put it somewhere. It's on the figure. It looks cool strapped to his back. This thing comes in pieces, so you've got like this power pack that leads to the base. You've got the 3 legs. You've got the gun. There's no paint on it. It's all cast in this kind of gunmetal-y kind of color, the same kind of plastic that we saw with Darth Maul's DRK-1 droid. But I think it works really well. You can see there is some sculpted detail on it as the light hits it, some kind of craggy looks, cracks, just overall pitting. It makes it look kind of old, kind of used. And based on this guy's overall look, he definitely isn't squeaky clean and new, so it fits that overall design. The only real downside that I have, at least right out of the box, is that the cord that goes to the power pack is what I assume it is. It's not a rigid piece of plastic. It is flexible, and it kind of wants to make this thing move. You can see it's kind of hovering as it is right now. That's just because this thing is a lot of plastic. It kind of weighs it down a bit a different way. So what I figure I'll do is maybe heat up this cord and shape it so that this thing lays flat on the ground, because according to the box, that's how it's supposed to sit. It doesn't stand straight up or anything like that. But I do think this looks really cool. And again, just like with the other 2-pack, this is one where we're getting something that, at least as far as I'm concerned, not only looks cool, but is functional. And assuming that we do see this in the movie, it works on that level as well, as instead of being something like we saw in The Last Jedi, where they get humongous things strapped to their backs. And we've seen plenty of that lately. And I'm all for new stuff like this that just allows you to do something different with the figure rather than just have them standing still on their own. So at the end of the day, I think both of these 2-packs are winners. I do like the Lando Kessel Guard pack more than the Qui-Gon Darth Maul pack, but that's just mostly because of the fact that I think that guard is so cool, and I really like that tripod cannon. I think it's very different. It's nice. It's a new design, and it's a lot of plastic that ultimately could have gone elsewhere. And I keep saying it, but I'm glad we're away from the goofy backpack kind of things that they were given the figures in the other 2 packs. The Darth Maul Qui-Gon pack is perfectly fine on its own, and I do like the inclusion of the droid. I think the Lando figure is a solid attempt at a 3 3/4 inch Donald Glover likeness, and overall I'm very happy with them. I think this is a good start to the multi-packs for this line. The 3rd multi-pack in this line so far is a repack from the last Jedi line, and it's a dud because it's Rose with some droids, so we're not going to be doing that one. But I think they've got a lot of material to hopefully work with, and we'll get some aliens and some guards or something different down the road, but I think this is a good start. So that's going to do it for this look at the Solo A Star Wars Story 2 packs from Hasbro. Feel free to like, comment, subscribe, and share. Let me know what you guys think. Thanks for watching. Until next time.